Right, so this is the next project. Yeah, the entire companionway hatch, but for today I'm going to focus on the Treadmaster. This little area of Treadmaster we've got here is going to be like, it's going to be our ground zero. It's going to be our test case. Now, after watching another YouTube channel, a sailing couple, another British couple actually, come back from an amazing adventure, sailing yacht Florence. They did a big refit on Florence when they were back in the UK, and one of the mammoth jobs they undertook was ripping off the old Treadmaster and replacing it. And I'm not going to lie, the pain that I saw with them tackling that job, it looked like a real headache, and I thought, I wonder if this is a headache we can dodge. Now, she's looking old and she's looking tired, but can we simply rejuvenate the Treadmaster? That's what we're going to try and figure out today. I've got some of this Treadcoat Treadmaster Rejuvenator. That's actually what it's called, Rejuvenate. I just made that up in my mind, but it just, there we go. But yeah, so we've got some Rejuvenators. We're going to clean this all down first, tape up that area, we're going to tackle that, we're going to see how it looks, and if it looks good, and if we're happy with it, if I'm happy with it, let's be honest, if I'm happy with it, then we're going to blitz all of Godot. So let's get to work. Treadmaster cleaner, of course. I don't actually have Treadmaster cleaner, but instructions for use. Surface preparation. Treadmaster must be completely clean, dry and free from any oil, grease or other contamination. The surface should be prepared by gentle scrubbing with Treadmaster cleaner, no less. I don't have Treadmaster cleaner. Didn't know I needed that as well. But what I do have is the next best thing. A tub of acetone. Now that's all masked up. Next thing, stir thoroughly for use. Big bold letters. You can see that? Let's do that. I've been stirring this now for a solid 5 minutes because it's actually been standing for quite a long time. I think I bought this about 6 months ago, so that has had a really good stir. I'm going to decant some into this little pot because obviously that's way too much for this little space, and then we're going to do an experiment here. If this looks horrible, then I'm probably going to be tearing the Treadmaster off and replacing it. But if it looks good, then we'll use the rest on the rest of the boat. I've got some gel coat mixed up, which is about as close to a colour match as I'm ever going to get, and I'm going to roll it on and then tip it with the brush, and then hopefully that'll look better. First coat, let that cure, give it a sand, and then give it another coat. have good news and bad news. I'll start with the bad news because that makes it easier to finish. Bad news is that this is still tacky, and despite putting it in a warm room to sort of speed up the curing process, it turns out that it's not going to cure because I didn't use any wax. I didn't know anything about using wax. I'm sure I didn't see anything about wax on the instructions. Yeah, the good news is the fact that this is still tacky means that I can now apply an additional coating should I want to. I don't really have a choice actually, but I can put an additional coating on, which means our gel coat is going to be super thick. It's going to give us a lot to work with when it comes to polishing it up. And this time around, I need to add wax, 2% wax, and then it will cure. Right, back a couple of days later after our second attempt. Ooh, that already feels better. That already feels. Come check it out.
Rock solid. Although we do have quite a texture on here now. Alright, so I'm going to start off light with a little bit of 180 and then try and just take the top of that texture off. So I've just decided to use this kind of sand cushion here so I can come over this lip and try and maintain the shape.
Dare I say it, I feel like I'm actually starting to see some progress. Now, I'm no expert, so this is definitely not a how-to video, disclaimer like pretty much all of my videos. Just me, a guy, never had a boat before, first boat, figuring stuff out. So I started with 180 grit paper, and that took the worst of it off, and now I've dropped down to 320. I guess you could go to an in trim, but that's all I had. But, come and have a look. Oh. Here we go, so again, orange peel texture here. And then now, I don't know if you can see that really, but that little section there is perfectly smooth. So I'm not gonna hit that anymore. The next thing I'm gonna do, once I've got this consistency around the whole of the hatch cover, is I'm gonna start going lighter and lighter, 600, 800, 1000, 2000. I'm gonna basically just start polishing it without taking, hopefully, too much more material off. And that should look a damn sight better than it did when we took it off. Yeah. Alright, one of the things that's really getting under my skin right now, after making everything else look as lovely as I can, is the cockpit floor. It looks rubbish. Really rubbish. For two reasons. Firstly, there's all this degradation. Believe it or not, this is actually after it's been cleaned. There's just all kinds of discoloration and random damage. It's been painted so you've got different textures. The whole thing is just uneven and just unfortunate looking, and really detracts away from the nice looking teeth and whatnot we have everywhere in these. And then there's this, which ordinarily goes some way to hiding the sins of the cockpit floor, but even this is starting to look somewhat degraded and tired. So today
we're going to try and tackle both of those things, make the cockpit look beautiful.
Alright, now that's all freshly hoovered, I'm going to get some acetone in there and just try and get rid of as many of those stains, grease, grime, just anything at all that the gel coat isn't going to love.
It's all tidied up and I have now masked off all the areas where we don't want the gel coat to spread.
Let's go get some gel. Alright, now, whilst that first load of gel coat is curing, I'm going to get started on this. Now, I think to get the best result of this, I'm actually going to take it apart and label each bit meticulously so I can put it back together properly. And then I'm going to give it quite a hard time. I'm going to sand it really hard because it looks a bit ropey, and I don't think just a really light sand is going to be quite the look I'm going for. So I am, at least on the surface level, I am going pretty hardcore. Now that looks good. Now we need to get the awkward bits. Alright, so originally I was going to unscrew this whole thing, but it seems that after 20, 30, maybe even 40 years of being sort of on the floor and perpetually soaked in salt water, the screws and the screw heads have basically said, no, not today. So it's time for plan B. Plan B. That cockpit floor is starting to look much better now that's back down. Alright, those handrails are currently sitting pretty on 6 coats of varnish so far. I don't know about you, but I think about 8. 8 sounds like a good number. If you think more or less, I'll jump in the comments and let me know. I might have to paint some more. That's scrubbing up rather nicely too. Right, so we're still a long way from the finish line, but I don't know about you, but I think she's scrubbing up alright, you know, for an old girl. And there we have it. Another week is in the bag. The Cadoa restoration adventure continues, but things have just taken a bit of a turn. The pressure is being ratcheted on a little bit. We have just ever so gently been given our marching orders, and it's all good. The guys here at Willerbilt have been mega stars to us. They've been super relaxed with how we've been able to come and go. The couple of months, obviously, with young Hudson gate crashing into the world and hospitalising Carly. So I was away for a couple of months. They didn't give us any pressure whatsoever. They've been really good to us. And obviously, they've helped us a ton with their gigantic shipwright brains to make sure that I do this work to the best of my ability. They've been really good. But we've got a mere matter of weeks now before we need to be out the way for a more respectably paying customer to come in and take our place. But that means the emphasis now is to get the boat watertight so I can at least carry on with the work outside and not worry about her being rained on. So that's going to be our focus next week. We've got hatches to put down, we've got the companionway to put back together, we've got bit more. We've got the windlass to put down. We've got some deck hardware to go back on. There's all sorts to be done, but it's a bit of a sprint finish now. For those of you of sort of my vintage and older, you might remember the old Challenge Annika. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. So yeah, the pressure's on. That'll be next week. I hope you guys have all had a good week. Hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you next time.